What I want to do is ask you, actually, take you back to the actual question, you know, the title of the actual venue, the event. So-called the Forgotten Women Pioneer DJs. You know, when you think about it, you were doing sound systems 30 years ago, when predominantly male, and on vinyl. What has the transition been for you from vinyl to digital?
I'm a vinyl junkie, and I'll be a vinyl junkie till I die. So I was dragged kicking in terms of buying CDs.
Junie and I were starting our DJ career before the invention of CDs. So we were working at Virgin. CDs came online, and we literally rejected it. We kind of like, whenever anyone came and asked it, we said, well, it's out of stock or it's not right. We really kind of pushed against it. So that was really the importance for us, because historically, it's very hard for the majority of young people to realise that we were playing, we started off playing on what they call the gram.
I remember the gram, trust me.
You know, it looked like it was, you know, circa 1945, but you know, it was a piece of equipment, and really you had to really develop a certain set of skills, which, you know, I'm sure they're kind of comparable skills in modern day DJs, but there is a kind of dexterity and aptitude and application that you have to have as a DJ when you're playing in those spaces where you have to deal with mechanical equipment. So it was really important to mention that we were on pre-CDs and post-CDs. But you know, the times change. So you know, there's a drag kicking and screaming, but you know, the times have changed and you have to adapt to change. And I think that's one thing that women are good at.
Very true. I just want to bring TT in at this point, because I know when I spoke to you, you were saying, no, vinyl. Again, you know, that mirrors your experience and your preference.
So, when I first started, it was like 96, 97, and it was just messing around with my DJ friends, because most of my friends, they had a sound, and I grew up around sounds. So, and it was the vinyl days, you know, there would be an entourage of us, because that's how many people you needed to wheel in the record boxes. You couldn't now, you've got one person coming in, they can come by themselves because they've just got a laptop bag. Or some of them have even got USBs. So there's DJs, and I've as a promoter, I've had events and DJs have come in, and I'm saying, where's your music? It's here. No way. So they've got a playlist here and a playlist here, and they just, you know, mix and match. So to me, click and play DJs, is what is you know, the kind of, it's great if you respect the art, but then it makes it very easy for people who do not respect the art form to come along and say, hey, I'm a DJ. So nowadays, DJing is very different to what it is before. And I was having this conversation with, I don't know if you know the artist Christopher Ellis? So we were having this conversation just today about vinyl, and he's with Ziggy Marley, and he's signed with Ghetto. So they were having the same conversation yesterday. The guys were playing vinyls. And the sound that you get from vinyls, there's a nostalgia attached, which young people aren't going to, you know, the generation now are going to say, hey, that sounds dirty, it sounds messy, it doesn't sound clean. Even producers nowadays, they're not going to get the same understanding of that feel of music. Because music has a feeling attached to it more than, like especially years ago, more than what it does now. So I have transitioned onto CDJs, and you know, I use CDs, but I haven't gone onto the laptop. Although I can use it, I'm alright. Because I like touching the music. I like, you know, there's a whole different feeling attached to it. And you know, and also having that whole thing about, like you said, the actual mechanical equipment side of things. If it goes wrong, what do you do? How do you freestyle? What, you know, jump on the mic, you've got to say a few things. You can't just click a button and everything changes for you. And also this auto-sync thing allows people to kind of not have to have a lot of skills, again, with kind of mixing music. because they don't have to hear anymore. They can just press auto sync and actually do a whole DJ set without headphones. Where, yeah, it's real. And I've done that with my CDs, and it's hard, and I've clanked a few mixes without doing headphones, but at the same time, you know your music, because you're respecting the music. You're not just going for top 40 tracks that people are going to like and say, hey, I'm here, I'm a DJ. There's a whole feeling. So with me, yes, I am in the vinyl zone, I am in the CD zone even, and I haven't got a problem with moving on to the laptop, but it's the respect for the music and the feeling of the music, because you have to, I don't know, there has to be a connection. If you're going to play music for people and you want them to feel something, you have to have the feeling to push through.
That whole tactileness of vinyl, lugging the boxes, is a whole experiential, you know, even before you start. And obviously things change, and, you know, and clubbing with DJs who do the laptops, and you can tell the difference, the one who do feel it. And because they know the music, and they've actually taken the time to go back and find out about music from the past as well. But I want to bring you in, Adibah, in terms of what was running through your mind when you were hearing the vinyl defense in a way, and what your situation is, and how you feel, how you show your passion and love for the music through digital.
I find it really interesting, because I'm digital, so I use my USB. I don't use a laptop, and so I originally wanted to learn on vinyl. It's really interesting. I wanted to learn on vinyl, but they basically had 2 classes, apart from mixed nights. And there was vinyl, and then there was digital, and the vinyl got, like, bam, it was gone. Everyone wanted to play vinyl. So actually, I think, to be honest, I don't know if it's because of where I'm placed, whether it's like Bristol, but they are mad about vinyl. And there's loads of clubs that actually don't have CDJs. It's not so much nostalgia, because vinyl's still very, very, very popular, and it's still being used a lot. I personally use USB, but I would be interested in getting involved in vinyl. I'm not saying that one's better than the other. I think, you know, I would like to experience both.
Chillz, for you then, in terms of digital, and you obviously do your own mixes and stuff, so what's your position on that, and also your response to what you've heard?
I started off on vinyl because the collective that was looking after me, they made sure that I understood the connection, like you said, with music. They were like, no, you're not going to go to CDJs, you're not going to do laptop. And so my background is a bit different, because I understand how music, like how it feels, and then to go onto CDs was a bit different as well. But now I'm on laptop, I want to go back to CDs. Vinyl's a bit hard because the clubs just don't cater to it. Like, majority of the clubs I'm booked at, they just do not cater to it, and if they do, you have to bring the actual techniques yourself, and it's like, how am I going to log this around? I do think the new generation should like do a little bit of like practice in vinyl, so you can just understand the love of the music, so you go back to the history. So that's kind of where the idea came from, bridging the two generations, the 2 understandings of music as well.
In terms of what your experiences have been or are, being women DJs of colour on the club scene, like you said, you just come back from, Ireland, Belfast, yeah. You know, you've been in Paris and elsewhere. I'll come back with you both about when you first started, just an experience that you think typifies what the scene was like, or the attitude towards women DJs were at that time.
Yeah, so Wolf Walker gave us the opportunity to play at this concert, so it was a big deal for us. And I remember we arrived, and it was, maybe I think it was in the autumn, it's quite cold, and we've got, you know, our record boxes, and we're walking along, big massive queue around the block, we're walking into the head of the queue, it's obviously my piece. So we spot one of our rival DJs who had fallen out with us. I mean, well, he'd fallen out with us, we hadn't fallen out with him. And it was down to we really just jealousy because we played maybe the previous weekend at a dance where the people were basically running him and calling for us to come back on.
Oh, no,
So anyway, so we walk into the head of the queue with our record box and he looks at us up and down and he says, "Where are you going?" And we said, "We're playing. When it's there, we're supporting." And we stepped past him and he literally visibly crumbled. So that for me was a real fun. But that was, I suppose, for me, a typical situation where, as I was saying to one of the DJs earlier, that we've often come across situations where people will look at us, will be either behind the decks, queuing up a record, looking for the next track, and they'll say, "Oh, where's the DJ?" Literally. Who has that time and time again?
So going back to Bojangles, there was the guy on the mic, and there was another guy, I think he was the engineer, and we're in a tiny space, which is the booth, right? Literally, Pearl will verify this, the booth was probably from your foot to where Chillz is. And for some reason, when it came to our set, we had the guy on the mic who was up front, couldn't move, and when the engineer up front couldn't move, and I'm literally having to pass the headphones around the guys to pass to Linda. So I'm getting a little bit angry, and when I'm angry you can tell. After we started playing and they realised we were pure vinyl, the guy on the mic stepped back because he realised that vinyl, we've got to be serious. And I just said to the engineer guy, "Can you just move please?" It was just really, really cramping. It wasn't necessarily about the fact that we didn't want men there, but they didn't need to be there. It was a very tiny space. So it's just like, I don't know, they just had to have a presence there. They just couldn't back off. Just couldn't, really go to space. So, that plus, whose records are those? Again, two of us behind the table where we are. Whose records are those? They're ours. Clue. We're playing them. We bought them. So you get those kind of things. I want to balance it by saying we've had a lot of support from brothers, but there is an ego thing. I think the thing that we'd like to get over that and I think someone said it, we play for the love of the music. We don't turn our backs to people because we don't want to see them because we're just into what we're doing. We want to entertain and we want to edutain, and it's for the love of the music.
I mean, this is when the irrationality of it, isn't it? But I think it's important, and props to you, that you still managed to rise above that and be here 30 years on and doing what you do and being in demand, which is great.
Part of what we found that is a key trait of women is resilience, because you have to find different ways of what you can solve it. Sometimes it's tact, sometimes it's persuasion, and sometimes I just send you in, because
You're closer. I want to come. Thank you. I'm going to come to Adibah and Chillz because a lot of the time the spaces are made for men. And that's why a lot of the time now, that's why there's a lot of women DJ collectives, so they create spaces that women can come and feel relaxed and put down without feeling stressed out. And I want to bring you in about that, Adibah, because you're part of Big Bass Collective. And hearing that, what does that, how does that resonate with you? And what's your experience been as a relative newbie on the scene?
So I'm part of Booty Bass, which is a female non-binary DJ collective. I've been part of it for probably 6 to 7 months, and basically it's just a privilege to be around them. They're absolutely incredible. So basically, I'm a year into DJing, so I'm fresh. And they've basically given me an opportunity to practice while performing, which has been such a learning experience, because it's fair enough being in your room and being by yourself and learning, but actually it's so important to gauge your audience and understand okay, what's the vibe, what's not? Did I just kill the vibe? How do I get it back up? I really have a privilege of being able to learn on the job and get paid, which I think so many people don't get to, they don't. I'm really, really lucky for that. And I think, so we basically support one another. We know that our technique, some of us are stronger than others, but what it is about platforming. It's about giving us the space and taking up space. And especially within Bristol, we've gotten bigger and bigger, and more venues want us. But some venues aren't equipped. So they basically come up to us and they're like, we want you to do a night because they know we have a following. But they don't do anything to kind of accommodate and understand. You know, you've got female DJs and they're going to get shit basically. And you know, your bounce is not equipped. And we make sure that our nights are safe for women. So any kind of harassment, you're just out, just immediately. So we've been at venues who feel like, okay, well we want female DJs, we want them because it looks good for our profile, it makes us look like we're inclusive, but actually they have done nothing to make sure that the space is inclusive. And we say when we're playing, we want to make sure everyone feels safe in that space. Those experiences, because I have a group of women with me, which actually makes a massive difference, it's been a lot easier. Though saying that, I played last week, or maybe a week before, in Spain, and for the first time I've actually had a really, really rough time where I think another DJ, basically it was a control thing. He didn't like the fact that I was playing music and that I was, you know, creating a vibe, and so he tried to spike my drink. Yeah. So that actually kind of shook me up, and he was like, you know, very much in my space, grinding up against me, and I think it was all to throw me off, and to kind of basically fuck with my set. So that was actually, you know, I haven't actually played since then, I'm not going to lie, it kind of shook me, and it really upset me, and I went back to my collective and I told them about that experience because they weren't with me. And they've been very, very supportive, and I'm going to play again just to kind of get my confidence back up. But
Adibah, thank you for sharing that. And no, thank you. And Chillz, I want to bring you in because what I've noticed from what you've been doing and how you made a concerted, you know, effort and made a decision, I want to sort of bring out EPs. I want to raise my brand. I know you're shy, but I noticed that you seem to have a lot of support from male DJs.
Yeah.
You know, I noticed that the shout-outs online. I'm just curious about what's that been like for you?
I've been blessed. I can truly say, like I said when I first started, I followed them and I kind of proved myself to them, which I don't feel you need to, but I had to do that initially. And so from there, it kind of word spread. They were just like, okay, check out my friend. She's a good female DJ. I'm supporting her, so you should support her too. And that's how it kind of built that way. And in the production world, it's a completely different. Okay, I thought DJ world was male-dominated. Production world is like, whoa. And so it's almost like I've had to go back and do it again and prove myself. But I think like I've maneuvered in a way where I'm like, look, this is me. I don't need to prove to anyone anymore. I'm a good producer. I'm a good DJ. Yes, I'm female, but it shouldn't even matter anymore. And yeah, I've just been getting support, and from females as well. I feel like it's the best of both worlds. I don't know how I've done it. It might just be me, but it's happened to work, and I like to bring other females through to my radio shows as well, to make sure that they get the platform too. If you're a DJ or a producer, even if you're a singer, just females in general, they come into my show and they do interviews and stuff like that. So I think it's more the fact that I like to give back. That's always what's always like helped me. Because I didn't get hit by myself, so you know, it's pay it forward kind of thing.
Obviously, put that question to you as well, but the focus on promotion, because you started in promotion first, then moved into DJing, and again, that's a very particular type of male world, but not just that. There's a whole different energy with that. Do you know what I mean? So, okay.
Okay, so yes.
How do you combine the two?
There's probably about 5 strings to that. So I started with doing for a music promotion magazine, and that was as an editorial assistant. So I got to meet some big names, And at the time, it was like La Cosa Nostra was the thing, Carl Tough Enough Brown, Matt Jam Lamont, you know, it was, and I got to meet these people, and I'm like 16, 17 years old, and I'm just, hi, you know, I'm starstruck. I got to meet Drew Hill, and you know, at that time, Drew Hill was the thing. I remember going to Bagley's, 1997 Christmas, and it was the first time, yeah, you guys remember Bagley's? It was the spot, right? And I had VIP access, all areas, and this was the spot everyone from college was going to. But I've got VIP, so I'm like, come with me, come with me. And we're walking through, and then it's like, what are you doing? And then we got stopped. I'm like, who are you? And I'm saying, oh, I'm here with his music magazine. I said, no, you're not. I know the owner. I said, that's nice. My name's on the door. They didn't even look at the list. Because they were just like, no, who is this one? Who's this little girl? And who is this girl? And it was just like, no, they're not having it. Anyway, made a phone call. The guy came out and said, do you know who she is? And I was like, yeah, do you know who I am? Because, you know, I was kind of like bright and ignorant at the time as well. And it was just like, leave me alone. And I was a hothead. So I kept my composure, went in, did the whole thing, and then as I came out, obviously as gracefully as possible, said, see, told you, but, because that's the thing that you do. Anyway, years went by, I was doing all this kind of promotion with my friends, because like I said, they were in a sound, it was Corruption Sound at the time, and they were doing a lot of playouts, you know, we were kind of like West London, North West London, and I was like, just buzzing around. So then it got to the point other promoters are saying, hey, can you just come to my rave with your friends? Because you've got the thing. And then, yeah, fast forward 2004, a friend of mine said, look, can you come on radio with me and play some music? This was an underground rap, hardcore rap music show. And that's where I come from. So when I've turned up now, looking dainty, because I've grown up a little bit, so I wasn't in my, you know, Tims and stuff anymore, I was wearing dresses. So your lady's easy? Like, no way. Because obviously they've just heard this like gangster rap show. So, and then I think also it was being an Asian female totally threw them, because it was like, you don't sound like what you look like. And then times, you know, we had MySpace. So people didn't necessarily know what you looked like. It wasn't Instagram and social media as it is today. So anyway, then we started putting on, so I started playing out, and I remember my first few playouts, and I couldn't mic because I was scared. So I was scared to play because it wasn't I hadn't come from this background of really practicing. I just loved music, so I knew music inside out, and I knew how to select and all the rest of it, but I wasn't a DJ. And then I was like, can you mic for me? Can you mic for me? No, we're busy. We're busy. No, I can't do that. No, you're busy standing. You're standing. You're here. You're on next. You can just mic. And then I played. And then they were fighting over the mic. And I was like, oh, I tell you no now. But anyway, then I got into the promotion. So 2008, got into this, got introduced to some other people, and they said, right, you need her on your team. So they said, oh, we're not sure. I said, here's what you do. Book me for your next event. If I don't double your crowd, forget it. If I double your crowd, let's sit down and have a meeting about working and doing business. I tripled the crowd. That was the first time, because they had like 50 people in this venue. Because I went there and I was like, oh, this is sad. I want to go somewhere else now. tripled the crowd. They said, okay, cool. It then went on to be London's #1 urban club night. We rivaled every single club promotion that was going. DJs used to come to me who are big DJs now. Lady TT, here's my CD. Could you listen to it? And I'll play for free. Like, I'll be a warm-up DJ. I was like, okay, cool. And even when I look back on it now, it's totally surreal. Then I toured with, I did like semi-touring with Gregory Isaacs, John Holt, Cockatee, we were at Stratford Rex, I then went with, we did quite a bit of a tour with SWV, Genuine and Drew Hill. And this is when SWV done their comeback tour. And even like a lot of the artists, there's a lot of the artists that I work with, or just even speak to, just on a normal, everyday basis, just because of the contacts and the network, especially in Jamaica. So I'm back and forth from Jamaica probably every year. We do a lot of work together. I've grown up around sound systems, and I've grown up around Stingray Studio, Peckings, Studio One, all that kind of stuff. So Peckings has got a new project coming out that I'm working on as well. So there's just a lot of kind of stuff coming forward with the music game that there are a lot of men supporting. But then you've got the other side of things where I remember playing in clubs and the payment. I have argued with so many promoters about money. I have actually made promoters never have an event at a venue again because I will sit there and wait. And I'm going to make up noise because I was, like I said, I was a hothead. I was very hot-headed. And you had to be, because I wasn't part of a collective. I was on my own. So a lot of the times when I used to play out, I was going places on my own. And they would try the intimidation thing, 3 promoters come in. I was like, go on then. Do you know where I come from? You know, I've grown around boys. You don't scare me. And I'm here for a purpose. And I've just shut down your rave. I've just done what I was supposed to do. And then you're not going to pay me my money. It's mine. I'm like, come on, you give me 20, you give me 20, you give me 20, and find the rest. But at the same time, the support that I've had from a lot of males in the industry has been immense, because I probably wouldn't have got where I am now if it wasn't for those guys. But also it's having that tenacity as well. Because I used to go up to DJs and say, hey, no lady DJ on your lineup. They said, no, we don't know any lady DJs. I said, hi, my name's Lady TT, nice to meet you. You can book me, you know. And that's how my career grew. It was literally networking. That's why I say about the freestyle, because there wasn't a plan. There wasn't even an idea that was going to become a career. It was just do it.
You covered so much there, and I think the commonality and the theme about you having, it's almost like you have to have a persona or a script to navigate your way to just do what you want to do. And I want to open it up to the floor now to ask, give you the chance to answer questions, because it seems like we've got such a mix of people here in terms of DJs and double A, and so on. So I'm not sure if we've got a mic in the crowd. If not, Jennifer. Okay, anyone? You say who you are as well, yeah? Yes.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Pearl. I DJ Icon in the name of I play Pearl as June. I played with June and Ade in the past. With regard to the younger DJs, where do you get your music from? How do you get your music? That's what I'd like to know, because with me, the vinyl, I could just go and get my vinyl, where I need to get it. But with the younger DJs, I just want to know, how do you get it? Where do you get it? Do you just get it off the computer, or do you have a specialist area to get your music? How does that come about?
I basically get all my music online. So I use certain websites like Beatport, Junie, and sometimes I'm looking for particular things, things that I'm like, yes, I want this. And sometimes I'm just kind of searching through genres and finding different kinds of music that all those artists that I've never heard of before, and kind of going into record labels. It's quite a nice place to explore. But yeah, I get my music
websites
and then or USB.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I forgot to mention, so in the daytime, I'm a radio blogger. So what I do is I distribute music from the record label to the DJs and the radio station. And a lot of DJs are part of a music pool. So if they register to it, they get all the music that comes through from the record label. That's how I used to get music as well as Junos and the Beatports and the online websites. You have record pools that specific, that cater to specific genres, so like your hip hop, and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, yeah.
Hi, I'm Erin me. Thanks so much. It's fascinating hearing you all talk about your journeys today. I just had one thing actually, just as an observation, was just in relation to your question, Pearl. It kind of struck me that I suppose something that you kind of have, that kind of maybe accessing music through, you know, a website, as in you don't have, but it's like you've done more to kind of get the music, is that going into a shop and kind of like, you know, discussing music and having a chat about it is sort of also part of the experience, but also if you're accessing the music and if you don't have that, like to have found the music is like amazing. So, you know, just want to say that. I was just sort of thinking about when you've all sort of said that there's brothers, you know, men who really supported your journey, who you found as kind of, you know, sort of touchstones in your music to date and kind of, you know, how you've got on the circuit. What would you say is the difference between sort of, what would you identify as the difference between why sort of some people have and some men have and some haven't? Is there sort of a particular quality that you can see? What would you say is the difference? Why is it that some do and some don't?
I think it's what we were saying earlier, it's like ego. It's like feeling like you have an ownership of a space or a thing, and if anyone who you think shouldn't have a space or would kind of dilute or ruin the scene, you have like this pushback, and that's kind of what I'm explaining. I think it's like ego. I think it's like controlling behaviour, and it's like it makes you to understand that there is value in difference. And I personally, because I do a lot of work in inclusion, I feel like the more people are involved in something from different backgrounds, the stronger a thing is, right? So often we have, with Booty Bass, we're very performative. Part of our thing is if we're not enjoying the music we're playing, why should we expect you to? So, you know, we dance and we laugh and we kind of like get very involved with our sets. And often, you know, we have to kind of debate with particularly male DJs about, you know, why aren't we serious? Why aren't we taking ourselves seriously? Why are we dancing around and da-da-da? And it's like, well, no, this is how we get involved in music. That's how we enjoy it. I'm not saying that all women, female DJs do this, but this is how we like to play music. We like to get involved. We like to move our bodies. Don't see this change as a threat. Like it's just our preference, and there's space for both. But yeah, it's really interesting. Even with like Bristol has like a massive like drum and bass scene. I wouldn't say I was really in that. And that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to become a DJ, because I was like, I'm kind of done. I shouldn't say this, but I'm kind of done with hearing drum and bass like all the time in Bristol, and I want to play something, I want to hear something else. But a few of the people in our collective, you know, they like to play drum and bass music. I get kind of into it, you know, but what you notice is like there's like, from the crowd, I don't know where they appear from, but like 10, 15 white guys just kind of surface right to the front. And you're like, where did you guys come from? And why do you like assume that as soon as someone's playing like drum and bass, like this is you, and you get to push everyone else out the way? So yeah, I think it's like this kind of like resistance to change, this like controlling behaviour about what is classified as good DJing and what is, you know, ruining the arts. Yeah.
I would agree with the team with feeling threatened, but I think in addition it's like having a limited expectation for some reason, that because you're a woman you don't know music and you don't know how to play music. Because going back to Bojangles, when the guy on the mic saw we had only vinyl, he stepped back and treated us with respect, because he knew that for us to have vinyl, it was a revival session, it was a revival session. So some of the tracks we were playing were like from 76 and they said 77, so we had to be rooted in our music. So if they just suspend the ego, as Adibah and others are saying, just listen, ladies to Chillz, if they just listen to what we're playing and how we play, suspend for a few moments, they'll get to understand that we know what we're doing. But there was a point that Linda made when we were talking previously, unfortunately some women carry that vibe as well. We clearly can remember playing at someone's 50th birthday, 40th birthday, and the room, it was I remember playing in the person's front room, and the room was filling up, and I can still see them, a couple came in, and they both stood there as if to say, oh my God, who are they? And we're not going to have a good time. So they convinced themselves they weren't going to have a good time. But by the end of the evening, they were dancing, but the face was screwed. You know, it was like, you've got really nice clothes, you've got your perfume, your aftershave on. But because there's these two people who you weren't expecting to be there, you've got your screw face on. Take your screw. But, you know, so it's like, I think, because even now, I think Lady Titi said it, a lot of promotions, because I've been looking at them, I'm doing some studying and doing some research on women's sound systems, and you look at all the promotions, 99.9%, it's got better recently, but 99% all men bill. And I spoke to a promoter about a year ago, and he was so defensive. And I said, you know, why don't you have any female DJs on your promotions? And he said to me, are there any good ones? Now, he might have been winding me up, but he did wind me up. And I said, well, you know, in terms of the promotions that he did, there's a lot of soul stuff, Betty Wright, etc. I said, well, DJ Lane, you know, everyone knows DJ Lane. She's been on TV, she's been there for donkeys. So, you know, if you're not doing a book like a little nobody.
But just quickly, sorry, I know you want to get on to the next question. It's really quick. Just like, so I think some of the guys who are more accepting of female DJs, they're more accepting if you hold your space. Like, if you hold your corner and stay in your place, you're not too confident and you're not, you know, you kind of just, oh, hi, I'm here to DJ, and then you play your music and you go about your business, they're okay with that. They'll support you. But if you are commanding and if you are dominating and you're actually taking over the scene where they feel like they're supposed to have prominence, that's where some of the issues occur as well.
Sorry, my name's Pauline,
Yeah.
and it may apply to the others as well. You both mentioned that you had children. Just wondered how you managed challenges of childcare doing a nighttime job.
Our children, and my eldest is 25, so it's, in the early days it was really about, I mean there was times when we were really busy and other times where, you know, when the children were really small that you take less bookings, or a period when you didn't play at all. And I think that I've relied heavily on family. My sisters and my parents have been really invaluable throughout my life, and no different when we were DJing. And they've been our supporters from day one. In fact, it was really our families that really inspired us to be DJs anyway. So we've been lucky in that respect. But yes, it's kind of like relying on friends and family along the way.
And to be honest, I was actually pregnant and played at my neighbour's wedding. So my son's been there from day one. I've got a smaller group of family than Linda. Many of my family were in Jamaica. But on occasions I would take him with me. And yeah, depending on what the event was. And I'd have to be selective about pulling in favours. It was hard in the beginning when they're a toddler and they're young, because single parent you have to actually select the friends that you're going to ask to do you a favour. Often they don't mind because then you return it, but it was a little bit difficult. I also have a brother, so I used to get him to help on the cases as well.
So I have a 4-year-old. So I did my last booking when I was like 5 months pregnant, and then took about a 3-year break, and have only just probably in the past year started getting back into the music industry. But like you said, there has been a couple of occasions where I've taken him with me. So he jumps on the decks as well. But that's things like christenings and weddings. You know, when it's like family functions and family orientated functions, it's fine. But in terms of the actual club bookings and stuff, I took a back seat totally. And now I don't DJ so much. I do club promotions. I've also got an artist that I'm managing now, and I do kind of other music related things, with networking people, supporting upcoming DJs, especially females, and just kind of events and that kind of stuff, rather than the main DJ focus.
But I just want to say that what you're saying about the music and preferences, and there is this sort of hierarchy about positioning of us, and a fake narrative that men are realising their narrative no longer holds, those who are negative about us. And that's why there's a struggle, because it's not true. And there's more and more of us who are playing and being invited to play in different spaces. So good luck for you, the ones who are sort of starting out. You know what I mean? I'll be there with you, girl. And you've got, you know what I mean? And I think at some point what I'd love is just to get a range of different women, different levels and experiences, and just do a proper showcase. That's what look, the only way you can have a good party, you have to organise it yourself. So look, I want to say thanks to Chillz, DJ Chillz, DJ Adibah, Lady TT, and Nzinga Soundz, and Nzinga Soundz. Thank you all very much.